we're back. You're listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the #1 global business talk and news network on the internet, IBGR, International Business Growth Radio. And today, we're focusing a lot less on your profits and all completely on your potential. And I am joined by Leah Zimmerman of Stepping Stool Coaching, and we've been talking about how to get unstuck from your sticky family business. And we talked a little bit about hard conversations and what it looks like to move from competition into cooperation, and really just some of the positives and negatives of how does a family business environment function and sometimes dysfunction and all of those things all at once. And in this last section, I wanted to maybe push the envelope a little bit here, because we talked about a lot, engineers having emotions. And one thing, I'm going to tell you a story of someone who, and the names are protected for the innocent, but it was a gentleman who was doing a lot of heavy mining and heavy deal making and a lot of construction type digging earth out and brokering deals and all of this type of very physical but also very mentally demanding work, all the way to running crews and all this other stuff. And this guy he was making money hand over fist right up until the crash of 2008. And it essentially, because he had not built his business the right way, these are all the external factors, right? The business wasn't de-risked, it wasn't decentralized, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. But at the end of the day, what he did was he worked himself into a situation where it took him 15 years of healing and really reconnecting with himself and his feelings until he was ready to come back and professionally, he can go back and make money hand over fist. He knows how to do that. But he was finally at a place where he could go and do it the right way. And we're very excited because we're going to be working with them. We talk about that in Exitology. And the way that we say it is, do you want to be a miner or a miller, right? Instead of a gold miner, a gold miller, where you help everybody and build a system. But I share all of this with you, Leah, to ask you the question of, when we have these really tough cerebral guys who would just rather keep pounding 3 more hammers into the dirt to try to get the gold, at what point are we able to go into the fact that engineers have emotions, and what kind of weird, uncomfortable questions are you asking them in those moments to to get them to be in touch with their body again?
So the key thing is what it means to be in touch with your emotions and your body, and the rationale for it. One of the things that I found really impressive in Lisa Barrett Feldman's book, How Emotions Are Made, where she really calls on the triunal brain system, is calls it out and presents something different. She opens it with a story about traders who could feel their heartbeat, that they did a study that if you could feel your heartbeat and be aware of your heartbeat, those traders made better deals.
Interesting. You're talking about like stock market traders and stuff like that. Yeah.
So as much as we feel like it's a little bit weird to talk about feelings and emotions when what your life is very practical, you're not that separate, your mind and your body. Okay. You can also look at other work of your emotions or energy, and that energy is going to move through you in some way or another. So just as being aware of that heartbeat helps one become more aware of tuition. It's the same as other movement of emotions in the body, help you become aware of other data that's going on inside your body. Susan David's the one who says that emotions are data. They're not directives, but they're data. So if you're feeling a pit in your stomach, you got to know what that's telling you. If you're feeling a rise of anger, that's key. You got to know what that's telling you. The thing is, we don't know. We don't have a literacy of emotions and those sensations in our body. So we label them. We decide that emotions are not something we should feel. We suppress them. We push them away. And then what happens is they explode somewhere else. So if you're holding it together with your bad boss at work, or the boss you think is bad and mean, or you think it's all going to go wrong, often that will come out at home in an explosion. Or you're going to just shut down when an important meeting is happening and you feel like there's no way this is going to work. But you don't have access to those emotions or how to deal with them or a way to effectively channel them, you end up shutting down or you end up exploding or you put someone else down and you will be sure that it is everybody else's fault. But
Wow.
here's the key. It is no one else is ever responsible for your emotions. Your emotional reactions are always your responsibility. They're not your fault. They come from your default wiring, things you've experienced, and the fact that you're human, because you can't be human and not have those things.
Yeah.
But they're your responsibility. Whatever anyone else did that triggered it would also be something that would be indifferent to somebody else. To somebody else, react to that indifference. The fact that you react to it with some kind of emotion that's where you have responsibility and you get to make a choice there. You either can use those emotions to help you understand yourself and others better and to take it as data that helps you know what you think is going on, what feels threatening, what feels like something, no, we can't lose that. We have to hold on to that. What feels like something that's going in the right direction. When it feels something, just trust your intuition that something feels wrong. Or you can keep working against them because you don't like having them.
So you're actually inviting, very data-driven folks. You're speaking to one of those data-driven folks, and analytical types, right? You're inviting folks who think this way to not to look at, but to experience these emotions as a form of feedback, as a form of data.
Yes.
Very cool.
An analytical mind can deal with them. I'm very analytical, but I'm very analytical about social systems, relationships, and what I'm experiencing in my body.
Wow.
Like, oh, what's that? And now here's what happens. When you can explore this sensory aspect of what you're feeling, not immediately jump to, I'm angry and this is why I feel, but go, I have a rise in me and I feel it here and it's red and it's this. When you can explore it, you actually start to get more control over it. So I'd say the leg up that analytics have is if we're used to analyzing something, analyze what the sensation actually feels like.
Okay.
What we're used to doing is labeling it, interpreting it so that we can just compartmentalize the idea of it. But we explore the sensation of it. Well, I'm actually feeling a pit in my stomach. What does that feel like? Well, there's this sense of blackness there, and on the edges there's some yellow, and it feels like it's kind of vibrating. And when it actually moves around a little bit, what we start to notice is that emotions don't last forever. They're never still. They're moving all the time. And what I help some people do is actually learn how to transmute them, become aware of the emotion, become aware of what's going on. And I can give you an example. I have an actor who I've been coaching, and she got some negative feedback from an audiobook. And she was kind of like this, oh my God, I could be doing all these other things wrong in this project I'm doing now. And her mind starts going on the things she thinks she's not doing good enough. And she has all these questions. And I actually just had her start to describe and explore the emotions she was feeling. As she explored the sensations in her body, now I feel angry and therefore this, and the story around it, but the sensations in her body, I could actually guide her to release them and guide her to letting some of those things go. And the way the other person in the coaching described it was like taking the fireworks that were exploding and putting them all right back into a single flame. So she became centered, magnetic, and that's where your presence comes from. When you're not connecting to your emotions, what you're also doing, unless you're intuitively charismatic, is you're giving away the opportunity you have to hold the stage, to be present, because a lot of that comes from the energy that you are silencing by diffusing emotions, by putting them into corners, by hiding them someplace in your body that you don't want to deal with, which, by the way, can also be part of why you're going to get a backache.
Okay.
Got to put that energy somewhere, and it's going to be stuck somewhere in your body.
And so for our very achievement and goal-oriented listeners, essentially, there's two levels to this. One is an awareness level of allow data to be data, and oh, by the way, an important data point that your body has been giving you since you've been alive is your emotions. That's level one, right? But I think I really want to bring it home for level two is, as a leader, if you can get in touch with this data point, You use the word transmute. I'm going to say use it to your advantage.
Exactly.
It doesn't, right? And that's really what you were talking about, right? Is
You
to
learn how to leverage the emotions.
totally, because if it makes you a more powerful and magnetic leader, it makes you have a stage presence and all these other things. How much faster will that business and your perfect exit start to emerge into your life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your passion is an emotion. Your joy is an emotion.
Yeah.
Your daring and your desire, but those things don't come without fear.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get drive and desire and growth without having some kind of fear, unless you're not human.
Right.
That says, hey, this is different than what we've done before. You sure you want to go there? Pull
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
we'll often just feel uncomfortable and then go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And we don't know. We've just decided. We've just changed our mind. We haven't paid attention to what's going on. But when you pay attention to what's going, you can leverage your emotions so that you can release the joy. You can inspire the other people around you because you allow the passion to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you allow yourself to fill up with it because you're not afraid of it. Some people know how to do that, but then will shy away from other emotions that are uncomfortable.
Okay.
The uncomfortable emotions, if often a lot of us, if we cut ourselves off to the negative emotions, we've cut ourselves off from our ability to express many of the positive emotions.
Wow.
And those negative emotions are keeping you safe. When you get a bad feeling around somebody and you don't know why, I have this bad feeling, I'm hiring them, but they seem to know exactly what to do. You don't trust it because the data in front of you that you're looking at says, on paper, they should sound good. But if you're telling you no, you probably have another part of you that's telling you no. So another thing that someone else has said, and I'm sure they're not the first, is that the emotions are also a route to your unconscious knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And that's an important place to have that data.
Yeah, and I think that's really huge, and that's really, I think that's a great way for us to wrap up today's conversation, is that your emotions are a route to the unconscious knowledge, because there really is so much that's available to people, whether you are working in wealth management, whether you are an engineer, an industrialist, someone who deals with real tangible left brain things. A lot of people aren't talking about this, so I'm glad that you brought all this up here today. Leah, thank you for being here today for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Check out Leah Zimmerman at steppingstoolcoaching.com. This is Jason Wally Waldron, Exitology, Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential podcast on the International Business Growth Radio Network.